All right, folks, we are back. No frills or shills around here. We're jumping right into it. It's been a while. Let's win Best Ball Mania again. Draft is live. Let's get our camera. We're looking disheveled here. Got shave, but hey, who hames? Thanks for becoming a member again, brother. We're back. We're back. Did give you guys one recorded video. Just updated my underdog ranks and my DraftKings ranks. We'll have fresh eliminator ranks and drafters ranks this weekend as well. But yeah, you can find those at beatbestball.com. We pulled the 10 hole. Back half, definitely the best part to draft from. Not much news has changed since we've been out of the streets. The news that did occur, good and bad for me. One was the Jonnu Smith trade. That was a big one. Now, I was ahead of the market on Jonnu, so that's bad. But ADP value wise, CLV wise. However, I was also well ahead of the market on Achan, so that's good. So we're getting, we already have a bag of Achan. I had Achan ranked basically at this 1-2 turn. I think from like him to like Drake London plus is kind of first round territory. CMC, GT, they're all in the mix there. Tyreek, we got quite a bit of Tyreek in the third. Seems like he's climbing a little bit. Waddle, we got a lot of Waddle. He's climbing a bit. Freiermuth, he's going down. Darren Waller, no one had any Darren Waller. Not really gonna. Darren Waller's not gonna be a huge part of my drafting plans. Yes, Underdog got some new contests in the streets. I guess we should make our picks first, but they are the Dalmatian, I believe, which is a $100 3 max, and then okay, so you can see my rank is higher on Amon-Ra than the market, and the reason for that is I think his week 17 schedule is, or his week 17 game against the Vikings is arguably the best matchup for a first round pick in the pool. Not going to be surprising for Amon-Ra to have 30 plus in that game. Now he has an ADP of 12, so I do want to be passing on Amon-Ra sometimes here, even though I like him, because you might be able to get him in the second. How was Vegas? We didn't win anything, so we got in and out in the sense of we're back. Yeah, and might as well add to our Achan bag here. Drake London, very appealing as well. They're all good picks, but might as well do Achan. Everyone except Derrick Henry, I really like here. Let's get to some of these questions. Yeah, so new contest hit the lobby. First off, the desktop got freshed up, so that's pretty nice. But looks like we got the Dalmatian, $101 3 entry max. Oh, Underdog also officially switched over to 20-second pick clock. So you can thank me for that partially. I was one of the voices rallying behind the 20 seconds. And I think it's a good choice from Underdog where, most of the people who draft best ball are putting in volume. And it's just a nod to them that says, like, you know what? We're not going to cater to like the bunch of casuals who do a couple drafts. We're going to cater, and we realize that most people doing this do a lot of drafts, and like, let's save them some time on their lives. So I like that they chose 20 seconds if they're going to choose one. There's also the little Dalmatian, which is 101 entry max, $1. So, I mean, rare to see a $1, 20K to first. So this is the contest for you. If you think if I had 100 entrants, I would win too. That one's for you. This is a 3 entry max, so some synergy there. Anyways, this is a BBM. This is to win $2 million. Right? That's what first is? Let's check. Is it 1.5? 2? 2, 2, 1, 504, 370. Very weird price to third. 400, 300. Of course, we won Best Ball Mania 2 if you're new to this channel. And then last year, I think I get second if Chase Brown just doesn't slide down at the damn 1 yard line. I don't even know if this is that valuable of a question, William. How many targets do you think Travis Kelce gets this season? He obviously has no juice anymore to break tackles. So if you draft Travis Kelce, you're saying that he is going to score 2 touchdowns in the right week, right? Which, of course, he's live to do. It's not my favorite bet. I typically just don't like betting on the old guys who are clearly past their prime. But he's cheap enough that I'll do it occasionally. And I would say the Week 17 matchup against the Broncos, it's a better matchup for tight ends. You know, we're back in the streets. Let's get Josh. Why not? Go Bills. Elite quarterback could simply be the answer this year, you know. I take plenty of the skill players, but just taking Josh, Lamar, Jaden Daniels could be the key. John Allen saying Josh Allen, great news. How are you adjusting for the Najee news? Well, we've never liked Najee, so we lowered him even more. And Hampton, we moved a little bit more up. Hampton, I think you can defensively take at the 3-4 turn. He was like an auto click for me when he fell to the 5th, which he was doing. What to do? Yeah, let's do it. I don't think I have many Josh Cook stacks. So let's get it. Let's get one. The main event, I played day 1. I got set over set, lost piles, and then got it in bad. So not really a great story. Wish I just direct reg to day 2. Oh, well. Where do I stand on Chuba? I like Chuba. You know, average something like 20 points and wins. Could win a lot more games this year. Yeah, same for me. I got some Chase Brown, Rashee Rice teams at the 3-4. Chase Brown, he's kind of fallen a little bit just because like confidence on Tyreek Hill's going up and the wide receivers. So we got a 1 wide receiver start. Yeah, this is definitely not something I would recommend you always do, Trail. But probably getting a little bit unique with it. From a 10,000-foot level, do you change the way you draft? From a strategy perspective, the later we get into summer? Or do you just stick to your updated rankings? I mean, I pretty strictly draft off my rankings. You can see me doing that. Of course, I just like get unique and so break rankings here or there because of that. But yeah, I would say the time period of like June until early August, there's not a lot of news we're reacting to. In fact, it's probably deciding what news is worthy and what news is not. Like, for example, I don't think Jonnu Smith should be going as like, I don't think Jonnu Smith is dead or anything close, but I think the market might treat him like that. So it's like, And I think the market's also getting less sharp in other spots. Just as, let's do Addison. Get that week 17 correlation. If he's going to eat a suspension, he's going to eat it early in the season is the hope. But yeah, like there's probably just less sharp money drafting at times like this. And I can't quite remember which contest bleed into Best Ball Mania, but like the puppies, I think some of them do, and people are just like blasting in those. So that they might like impact ADP. So ADP might be getting worse. And so just like sticking to conviction. Interesting spot. I think we're going to do Alvin. Achan, old school Achan, kind of like a mix of Achan. We got type. They catch passes, Only 2 wide receivers. Not a typical build for me, but I like it. Achan, Cook, Kamara. Yeah, I'm sure that Jonnu's just going to be going down in price. I don't think that's like true, or should be correct. Like he could just be the second target for Rodgers. Gonna do some more recorded videos. Had some nice words on that video. Kevin, appreciate you so much. $10 for not using the tools. Yeah, I mean those people are losers. Let's just call it what it is. Also, the tool sites. I mean, I think those people advanced like 8% last year. So probably a reason they're leaning on the tools. Getting some wine this Friday night. Why not? If I'm full fading Henry, is it just good game theory to take Justice Hill and or Keaton Mitchell in every draft? Well, I would definitely say, like, first off, you don't have to leverage your fades, right? But if you're trying to leverage Henry failing and you're saying it's because of injury, well, number one, you probably want to have some Lamar, right? Because if Lamar is scoring rushing touchdowns, that means Derrick Henry is not, right? So Lamar himself is leverage off of Henry. Obviously, they can be positively correlated too, but yeah, if Lamar has 4 rushing touchdowns week 17, it probably means Henry didn't do well that week. Number 2, yeah, you want to be mixing in quite a bit. I wouldn't say every draft, but quite a bit. You want to be getting the Justice Hills, the Keaton Mitchells, maybe a Rasheen Ali. I don't know. There's a lot, like people have to remember there's a lot of time left. Like crazy things could happen. Joe Mixon could be traded to whatever, the Texans. Well, taking Derrick Henry at the 1-2 turn is just categorically a different bet than taking him in the 4th round where he was going. He's obviously extremely explosive, so I take Derrick Henry more in things like the Eliminator, where he doesn't need to be relevant late in the season to be a good pick. And we're going to play the ADP game here. Let's do Ibuka. I just like Ibuka, and it gives me week 17 correlation with Achan. I don't remember what I was saying, but yeah, I mean, Henry is obviously a huge upside swing, right? Weekly upside, but yeah, typically it's like, look, if you're 32 and you're going to beat me at running back, good game, sir. And, for example, I would never, ever take Henry over Brian Thomas. I'm just never, ever going to do that, ever. Probably just a time to get Darnell Mooney on the squad. Don't really see a lot of reasons to do anything else. So, Josh, Achan, Cook, Kamara, a really solid 3 staple at running back. Amon-Ra, Addison, Ibuka, and Mooney. We're going to definitely want a little bit of quantity at wideout with the Addison risk of suspension early in the season. I mean, I'm seeing positive things on Ayuk today. You know, Ayuk, one of the oh man, I meant to title this video something else. I meant to title this "Are All Twitter Doctors Fakes?" Because let's pull this up. Maybe I'll make that my next video, and I'll have to do this again. So bear with me if I have to do that. But this is just too good. So this guy, David Chow, Scott Barrett retweeted a video of Elijah Moore, Bills wide receiver, running routes, and made a joke saying Rashee Rice looks fully healthy. And then David Chow, who's a Twitter doc, says he's a great athlete, far from fully healthy here. Could clearly see he favors the right knee. And then says, I know some will disagree. Many will ask me to explain, but too many little things. We'll explain on the next pod. So clearly, dude's talking out his ass. This is not Rashee Rice. Oh, I can't explain what. There's too many little things. And then what really had me rolling is the bigger fraud doctor, Jesse Morse, says, that knee definitely 100% by week 1. I just tweeted a picture of it. And then he going back and forth with me. I've seen him practice live recently. First of all, I like Rice. There's nothing to do with Rice. And I said, you commented that on a video of Elijah Moore running routes. No, I commented on Scott discussing Rashee Rice. My comment didn't reflect the video. I made a statement. I'm not engaging with this guy anymore. And then he, whatever. And then this guy said, it's okay to admit you didn't know what you're watching. Doubling down is idiotic. So hilarious, man. Hilarious. But anyways, one of the Twitter doctors who is a big 49ers fan, that's all I really know about him. He's really into Ayuk. You would think, maybe he has rose-colored glasses because he's into Ayuk. Wow, Cooper Kupp, who I was almost going to take in the last round, is here at pick 106. Like, I'm not the biggest Kupp bull in the world, but that's crazy. 106 after Kyle Williams. I mean, the Kyle Williams shit is insane. This is an example, I would say. Someone asked, the guy asking earlier, like, oh, how do you adjust? You just scoop ADP because Genius over here had to get Kyle Williams at pick 99. And I get Kupp a full round after ADP. Very valuable, right? No offense to said Genius. Yeah, why not? Let's just punish the room. We'll pick up Goff too. Obviously, I like Bo better than Goff. But we made the bet on Amon-Ra. There's really no other picks that scream out to me. And so, yeah. So, yeah, anyways, to finish the Ayuk thing, like maybe that Twitter doctor, and again, we clearly know that Twitter doctors are half the time doing this shit for engagement. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're looking at a video and they know people will react to it. But anyways, he's a 49ers fan, so maybe he has rose-colored glasses, like, oh, Ayuk will be ready to go. Or maybe because he's a 49ers fan, he'll know more about the team. I don't know. No, Todd, because the final can only be so big. And the amount of people who consume best ball content is a very small slice of the pool. So we like the squad. We got Josh and Goff. Obviously, when I have Josh, there's no, I don't need to take off early, but might cause some panic in the room, cause other people to take quarterbacks earlier, hopefully push down some values later. H.N. Cook, Kamara, probably end at 5 running backs total. Feel pretty good about the wideout room, considering we had 1 wideout through 4 rounds. Amon-Ra, Addison, Igbuka, Mooney, Kupp. Get some tight ends on here. We got something cooking here. This might be a joke, Billy, but you give it 10 years and this is going to be common. I could just see Cup being good friends with Darnold. First of all, I'm not here to give medical advice, but I saw I used to have back issues. I saw a chiropractor for a bit. I thought it helped a bit. What helps more is just like working out, posture, etc. Seems like craft is going up a little bit in cost. We're gonna take Loveland here, who, yeah, I just don't think the 10th overall pick in the real draft should be going at pick 130, but here we are. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins, he's gone way up in price. It's just tough for me to click him when I have teams with him at pick 200, you know? But if you are new to the contest and drafting him, you want to get some. No other reason than to take Dalton Kincaid here and get a pass catcher stack with Josh Allen. Probably just stopping at two tight ends here with two guys who each could hit 1,000 yards if things break right. Add two running backs here, finish with 9 wide receivers, call it a day. I mean, is this made up? You could show me the future and tell me Colston Loveland scores no points and I'd still be drafting him. I thought you were joking. No, I think Loveland's just not practicing because he has a known shoulder injury, but Good veterinary piece. Yikes. That's an oxymoron, sir. I love the texture of like a Mooney Cup room where, I mean, I don't know. Mooney's drawn live to just be a straight league winner, right? If Michael Penix is a lot better than people think, could really smash. But also, if he's just giving you some big spikes, you would think Cup would hit the lineup somewhat reliable. Yeah, I'm trying to be like Vetri. Don't get me wrong. Hopefully, in like 5 years, you guys are like, yeah, that guy used to be really good at best ball. Now he just has a huge channel that makes millions of dollars and optimizes for clicks. I mean, what position group are we weak at? Running back, no. Quarterback, no. Tight end, I would definitely argue no. So I guess you guys say wide receivers are weakest group, and we got Amon Ra, Jordan Addison, a literal first round pick, Emeka Ibuka, Darnell Mooney, Cooper Kupp. Oh yeah, that game could be big. Atlanta Rams. I guess the difference between Bishal Tootin, and I don't know if I have a huge stand on him. I actually, through like 50 drafts, I had almost no Tootin and was working hard to fix that. But let me make my picks and we'll get there. Wow, crazy fall on JJ McCarthy. This is something I'd like never do, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it just because I don't have any. I don't know. I generally don't like going 3 quarterbacks to the point where I almost never ever do it when I have a Josh, Jaden, or Lamar. But we're doing it here because JJ fell 2 rounds, and I have almost none of him anyways. So be it. Let's just add to the Josh stack and take Mr. Palmer. And because we took a third quarterback, we're either only going to take 4 running backs, or we're still going to take 5 running backs and we'll just end up with 8 wide receivers. Well, the world where Josh gets hurt, I typically just accept that team loses. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Anyways, the difference between Bishal Tootin and Kyle Williams to me is, number one, draft capital at running back is not as important, where we've seen, Achane as a rookie didn't go in the first or second round, smashed, right? We've seen running backs not be first or second round picks and be smashes in fantasy. Chase Brown was a 5th round pick. Bucky Irving was a 4th round pick, right? So Tootin's draft capital doesn't scare me. Number 2, Bishal Tootin is the type of guy who can touch the ball a single time and go score an 80-yard touchdown, right? Number 3, Tootin is a bet on really Liam Cohen, right? Which seems like a bet we want to be making. / James Gladstone. Kyle Williams, I just look, is there cases where Kyle Williams is one of the best picks in best ball? Absolutely, right? But the guy went in the 3rd round of the NFL draft. We saw many 2nd round picks bust, Jalen Polk included. Stephon Diggs is absolutely ahead of Kyle Williams. I think Demario Douglas is probably ahead of Kyle Williams. I think Hunter Henry is probably ahead of Kyle Williams. Mac Hollins might be ahead of Kyle Williams. Now, maybe Kyle Williams throws some of these guys to the dust, right? And he's that good. But he has to be. And, if he was that good, would he be in the 3rd round? You're also betting on Josh McDaniels. So it just seems like a very thin bet to me, right? Compared to Tootin, which you can get there a lot of ways. Okay. Speaking of Douglas, let's get him on this squad. Yeah, and he's a guy I have a lot of, even at cheaper prices than this. Because, and I think also some of the Kyle Williams stuff is due, late in the draft process, Chris Sims had him ranked as wide receiver 1. Chris Sims is really close with the Patriots organization, by the way. So some people just knew that he was going to get drafted by them, and maybe that's why he ranked him high. Anyways, you had that coupled with the fact he went in the 3rd round, which was higher than people thought, kind of. What are we doing with this pick? Sure. Alec Pierce, whatever. So we have a 3-3-8-2. Josh, Goff, McCarthy, Achane, Cook, Kamara, Amon-Ra, Addison, Egbuka, Mooney, Kupp, Palmer, Demario Douglas, Alec Pierce. Right, the Demario Douglas, Cooper Kupps, they pair well with the Josh Palmers, Pierces, Moonies, where Pierce and Palmer specifically were just hunting touchdowns. And then Kupp and Douglas, you hope get target volume. Now, Douglas, if Kyle Williams is a thing, could throw Douglas to 0. Yeah, sure. Right? Stuff like this could happen, Benny, but I'm generally just not drafting for it. Thank you for listening to the stream, Putt. Probably just gonna go 4 running backs. The nice thing about when I do spend this extra pick on quarterback is I have Cook. So the real story I'm trying to tell is that Cook through the ground is one of the guys you need to have weeks 16. And then Josh is the guy you need week 17. So basically, Cook, extremely strong advance rate piece through rushing production, week 16, high owned in finals, leverage off of Cook, Josh. Like that's the story you're trying to tell. I like Theo Het. I wouldn't say I'm a bull on him, but yeah, I've mixed him in. He's probably just like a better pick than Darren Waller, right? But all right. More Miles Sanders. Why not? Throwback. If I'm going to go 4 running backs, I would say Miles Sanders is one of the ideal guys to have there. Now, this could be running back or wide out. I'm thinking about Keaton Mitchell, Jermaine Burton too. Let's just do a 5th running back. Why not? A running back leverages off of Lamar. So Josh, Goff, McCarthy, Achane, Cook, Kamara, Sanders, Keaton, Amon-Ra, Addison, Igbuka, Mooney, Cup, Palmer, Douglas, Pierce, Loveland, Kincaid. Might literally, I think to date, this is the only time I have ever drafted 3 quarterbacks with a Josh Allen type cost quarterback ever on Underdog. So, hey, maybe it works. Wide receiver is obviously the biggest question mark on this team, but I like its chances, right? We got some correlated pieces. Just need Amon-Ra to hit the lineup a lot. 2 tight ends who can make some noise. So I like the squad. I have drafted a lot of Marshawn Lloyd. The tools are probably just trained on my stream, Steve. Sat next to David Baker for a while. ODB Baker. He's interested in best ball, so I think probably have him on after the WSOP. Mainly a DraftKings guy, so maybe I'll do a DK one with him. 65 7-11 streamed. Boom. There's plenty of players I don't like, Daniel, but I'm sure I even mix them in. Let's do the Eliminator. Just because I love the contest. I don't have updated rankings for this yet. I'm going to do that this weekend. So maybe we'll just draft off ADP. Five more. I'm refilling the wine. Thanks you folks for being here. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Well, I've heard Kasuf and Cabral are not the same thing. Whereas like Kasuf was just like Kasuf's an idiot. I played with this like London guy. Oh, It's over. We just won the eliminator. I played with this guy from England. He's like, we all hate him. He had this big deal, and then he was like caught stealing chips from a roulette table. It'd be like if I was being paid $100K a year by Underdog, which I am not, and then I was like colluding in 3-man head-to-heads or something. Ugh. No, he was stealing like $100 from the roulette table, is what someone told me. So insane. It's like some people are just sick in the brain and they think that like if they can cheat, they have to do it. It's like their duty or something. I don't know. They're sick. Jamar Chase, just so nice. No, Nick, I don't think there's a correct amount of BBMs to have done to date. There's going to be an optimal time to draft in a given year. And I think it's totally fine to lean to one side of the coin, whether you're drafting early, whether you're drafting late. There are people who have maxed already, Nick. So don't be looking at oh no, I did 20 more than Liam's done. I'm doing it wrong. I wouldn't say that. I'd probably be closer to the 80 number if I wasn't gone for a week or two. Arguably, Jamar Chase is even better than the eliminator, right? Like if we accept that Jamar Chase has the highest week-to-week projection at wide receiver, then he's even better than the eliminator. Like players who are league winners are better picks in the eliminator. Yes, I will, fat boy Stoich. I have close to 0 Derrick Henry in Best Ball Mania, if not 0. I might not stay that way because, like, obviously Derrick Henry has a very high weekly upside, right? And also, he's arguably like the Terminator or whatever. He doesn't catch passes. Lamar could run into, like, Lamar's really never taken that many rushing touchdowns, right? Like, let's look up Lamar versus Josh. Lamar rushing touchdowns 4, 5, 3, 2. Josh 12, 15, 7, 6. So if Lamar ever has a year where he's at like 8, 9, 10 rushing touchdowns, that takes from Henry, Really crazy that Lamar's had so low rushing touchdowns. Yeah, I would be mixing in Henry as if he fell there, sure. But I'm just never, ever going to take him at the 1-2 turn. Like, I'm never doing what Lopi did here. That's a no for me, dog. Oh, I've considered it. Wow. Getting Ladd with Chase is really insane. This next pick, I think it just has to be Rice. We're going to eat the 2 week 10 buys. But I mean, anytime you can make a Chase, Ladd, Rice start, I feel like if you don't, you are donating. The players are less sharp there. Jake, I'm not here to roast you. I'm just not doing that. I like Trey McBride a lot, obviously. It's just I feel like I take him every time. I'll probably draft 0 of those Super Ninja Cal Gomu. Yeah, actually, this is true. The Science Association released a study, and it said that the T levels of DK drafters are off the charts. So, straight facts there. I mean, if I could just have this in Best Ball Mania, I would love it. Just having Chasen Lad is crazy, right? Like, that's got to be rare. The reason why is because in the Eliminator, you get in some rooms and people absolutely fall over themselves to get running backs. So I emailed DraftKings about the data release, and then I got a response from their integrity team that was like, hey, we're going to respond to this soon. Basically, like the support pushed me on to like the game integrity team. And I explained it very clearly, like, look, it's awesome you guys are releasing data, but you threaten the integrity of the contest to release it early. And they basically told me, like, look, we're doing this because transparency, right? Like, they want to be transparent, probably because in the past, no one believed that DK drafts were on the up and up. So I respect that part, but I said, look, I love you're doing that, but how about you just release the data after the contest closes? I understand you not changing it for this year, but like really strongly encourage you to change it. So that's where we're at. No, I'm going to do that one, Benny, but he's asking if I was going to do the $1 101 max. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if DraftKings had hired me back in BBM1, I could have saved them probably like $1 billion. Like we could have gotten ahead of the best ball market. But what they really just kind of need like a group of players that know what they're talking about to like run ideas by, because like this idea it's just asinine, right? We talked about it on Davis's stream together, but yeah, it's crazy. No comment. Matt, you can check my Twitter, but I'll give you the too long didn't read. Let me make my picks first, Matt, and I'll give you, because I didn't talk about it on my channel, but see, this is crazy, right? Like we got Alvin Kamara pick 60 in Best Ball Mania. He goes pick 44 in the Eliminator. So it's just like, man, Ken Walker goes too. I don't know. We're going to figure out running back later, I guess. What is ADP? We'll do DK Metcalf and Tet. 0 RB in the Eliminator. Don't try it at home. Week 14 buys, obviously very valuable in this contest. Week 12 buys also valuable. Later the buy, the better. Honestly, we're going to stop at 5 wide receivers for most of the draft. Like, we might add 2 late, but these are our guys. If these guys can't get it done week to week, so be it. So what DK did is they released the data of the contest as it's being drafted. They did a big data dump. Like, you could look up how many times Jamar Chase is paired with Chase Brown exactly. Like you could know that number. You could look up how many times Achan is paired with Brian Thomas exactly. You could know that because they released all the drafted teams or something like that. Now, the issue with this is multifold. Number one, it's a huge data cell. So you have to be a data scientist to digest this, right? Or someone who digests it for you, you have to pay them. Number two, the reason why Underdog releases it after the contest is closed is so that people in August can't look it up and be like, oh, let me get a unique combo team, which unique combos is like one of the most valuable things you can have. So it's just insane that they're releasing the data as the contest is going. You know, you need to release that after the contest is closed. It'd be like if you entered a DFS contest and you knew the ownership percentages. It's just stupid. Yeah, they should also have told us that they were going to do this, right? Now, whatever. I don't know. It's just I think someone who just has no idea about anything best ball was like, this will be awesome. This will silence the haters. No, they have a page that probably less than like 50 people have visited in their lives that you could just go to. They said they're going to do it in batches, so I don't know. Now, obviously it doesn't take a genius to think through like unique combos, but still. Man, DeAndre Swift 62. We just need to force some running backs on our squad. Judkins for sure. I think we're going to do B-Rob. Pacheco has more upside, but we already have a Chief. I like Brian Robinson's chances just to give me touchdowns. So, not the worst two running backs to fill out the room with. We might take like 5 straight running backs. I don't know. Here, I'll try to find my tweets on it. Will Travis Hunter's touchdowns count? No. Is what Hayden said he thinks will happen. Yeah, it's just crazy that like you can know, like most people don't know this data dump exists. And of course, some data scientist is like, I love it. I hopefully more platforms follow. Give us some intel. Some dude with a salary in his bio, always, right? So it started with like I had seen Dan tweet out a couple things like, hey, Jamar Chase was drafted 15,000 times. He gets paired with T. Higgins 30%, Trey McBride 23, blah, 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 blah. And I finally, like after seeing a couple of these tweets, I was like, seems wild that they're giving us this data before the contest has ended. And I said, you should all email it why it's bad. I told this guy we should get the data after the contest closes. There shouldn't be a huge edge whether you know this data exists. And more importantly, you can actually break the data down. This Billy says, as someone who will be investigating the data, I will not be sharing any findings, most likely because it's a live contest. So, whatever. Truly insane by DraftKings, but what isn't, you know? Yeah, this is why I never upload my data like to some of these sites where they're like, "Oh, dissect your data." I'm like, "Nah, dog, you can't have my data. My data is valuable." I don't think Najee will fall that much because, like, what's the line for him? Can he fall past Tajay Spears? Probably not, right? You know, like, okay, Najee or Ramondre, I prefer Ramondre. Najee or Javante, I think I prefer Najee. Najee or Spears, I think I prefer Najee, right? Yeah, people hated I was making jokes. All right, this is what we like to see. A lot of wide receivers going off the board. See, I just hate these eliminators. Like, I love the eliminator contest, but I hate when I'm like forced to like take some scrub at running back because every running back's going. All right, let's go like Justin Fields and Zach Charbonnet. Fields, I mean, could simply be the nuts this year at quarterback, right? Round 8, we know he has upside similar to Josh Lamar, Hurts, Jaden in a single week. I mix him in, but yeah, I think he will. Something we know about the market is they just don't bake things in. I mean, the truth is, Jay, I just don't need like. Although I think it's bad DK released this data, I don't even care, man. I'm just gonna draft teams better than the field most of the time. And how I draft, most people like. I care a lot about week 17. Other people care a lot about making it to week 15. Those are two different things. Rob, seeing as I don't even know who that is, I would say no. I think it's a rookie they drafted. But yeah, he's probably fine to mix in. Sounds like you want that to happen, Chris. I don't think Hampton should be going to the second, but I tweeted out some similarities between Hampton and Jonathan Taylor, and there are a lot of similarities. Like Jonathan Taylor was drafted high, was pretty cheap in drafts because of Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack got hurt. Jonathan Taylor smashed. Mario Hampton got drafted high, pretty cheap in drafts because of Najee Harris. We lost day one, Will. I usually just stay on the strip. The Flamingo, pretty cheap. So that's usually where I stay. Man, it's just gonna be again, like I have so many teams with J.K. Dobbins cheap. Like, let's find one. I'm really happy I put heavy volume into Best Ball Mania and the Eliminator already. So that I have that ADP scoop. That's why you should get my rankings, folks. Because I'm generally good at getting value. J.K. Dobbins, pick 178. This one I forced with Davis. Davis didn't want to do it. J.K. Dobbins, pick 182. That team's dead. Josh and Lamar, same bye. J.K. Dobbins, pick 182. Maybe I just said that team. J.K. Dobbins, pick 181. You're welcome, friends. Okay, what are we going to do here? Clearly, we're going to take Herbert. I think this is a pretty good team to take Tootin on. Like, I really like Njoku and crew, but I think we'll be able to get some tight ends later. And this team simply needs a running back to be a smash, and that could be Tootin. Herbert, week 12 bye, ideal. Stacks with Lad, ideal. Allows me to stop at 2 quarterbacks. If I really want a third, I'll tack on Bryce Young if he's past ADP. This is the eliminator. Jeez, man, that's bad vibes. I'm going to time you out. I don't know who you're talking about, but you are in timeout. We ain't joking about people tearing their ACL because you're mad that other people have ADP value. Okay. See, I did do it right. I'm going to paste this. Do you guys remember that stream I did before we left? I timed a guy out and I thought I banned him. See, it tells me he was banned. He's just timed out. He can come back. Unless timeout is a ban. But yeah, I think what happened there is I said I'm good at getting ADP value on J.K. Dobbins, and then that guy's like, until he tears his ACL week 1. No, dog. You're out of here. You're out of here. It's called moderating, big boy. So we're definitely going to need to hit on some running backs here. Dude, you're joining late. We already did a BBM. I don't view Keenan Allen quite the same, Andy, as Dobbins, but I have been drafting Keenan some. Because, yeah, there are some situations that Keenan could go to that he could rocket up in value. Keenan Allen also has a lot more risk of just straight up retiring, though. You know, I think it's possible that Keenan is just like, you know what? I'm done. Now, I draft him some, but it was just so obvious to me that the second J.K. Dobbins signed, he was going up 10 rounds, you know? And that's what happened. Keenan, it's going to depend where he lands. He might retire again. And, you know, late in the drafts, like Darius Slayton, all he's got to do is get 20 points in the right week, and he could be a better pick than Keenan, even if Keenan has 800 yards, right? It was like, oh, am I going to draft Jarquez Hunter or J.K. Dobbins? Tough choice. Tough choice. No, not a tough choice, right? Cooper, I mix in too. I don't really think that makes sense to me. Yeah, possible. 49ers. What pick is this? 144. This is about where I have Jonnu just ranked. Ethan Isaacson. Dang. Kincaid goes. All right, we're going to take Jonnu now. and Jaden Blue versus Tank. I think maybe we're going to do Tank this time. I know it overlaps a lot of week 8 buys for my running back room, but this room just needs to cash in a running back to hit the lineup quite a bit. And like between Tootin and Bigsby, I don't care who it is. One of you guys hit the lineup, you know? Jonnu as our tight end 1 here feels pretty good. Might be going 3 tight ends. Bleacher Report's putting out rumors Terry could be traded. Of course, Bleacher Report not to be trusted. I think we got kind of unlucky in this round for all these tight ends to go, but could work out in our favor here. And I think this is the right way to build quote unquote 0 RB at wideout. Like we made our 5 wide receiver bets. These are our bets, right? If Chase, Ladd, Rice, Metcalf, and Tet can't hit the lineup, we're losing anyways. Now we need to be adding other positions. So I don't feel terrible about the running back room. Judkins, cheap RB1. Ryan Robinson, cheap RB1. Charbonnet, more of a 1B. Tootin and Bigsby, hope one of them is the RB1 for stretches, if not right away. Jonnu, who I still like. Yeah, I don't think Terry's getting traded either, but you got it, Scarecrow. I never meant to not be 1080p, and I do remember you super chatting last year, if that's why you did it. What do you think of Marshawn Lloyd? It's a bet I'm making, St. Louis Bree. I think he's the RB2 in Green Bay. And, you know, there's some historical things for Green Bay. Number one, they've been a team that's thrown a lot more passing touchdowns than what happened last year. Number two, usually the RB2 is like a pretty fantasy relevant guy. So, yeah, I like the Lloyd bet. Is it possible it's Emmanuel Wilson? Yes, it is. But I'm still making the bet. I mean, Chris, it had really nothing to do with Jarquez Hunter, but it was unquestionable to me that J.K. Dobbins was a much better bet than Jarquez Hunter. And that's the reason why he's going in the 10th round and Jarquez Hunter is still free. I do not mix in Savion. I want to hear some buzz to be doing that. Probably first in the eliminator, right? Mile High. First of all, like as someone who runs a YouTube channel, like we're sweating my eliminator teams, folks, as long as I got them, you know? So my in-season football content is typically not as much because I'm mostly a best ball guy. Like I do the best ball leaderboard show where I take a look at the teams. Wow, Kyle Pitts here. Seems like I have to, right? 2 week 5 buys, so we need a third tight end. Yeah, I think we just take Gesicki too. Honestly, like this tight end room a lot. Jonnu, Pitts, Gesicki. Pitts, a boom bust guy. Jonnu, probably more boom bust now. Gesicki, boom bust. Like, you got 3 chances there. Cost me like a Braylon Allen or whatever, but that's fine. But yeah, you know, so we're going to be, as long as I have eliminator teams, which hopefully is 17 weeks, you know, like we're going to be looking at my teams. You know, like week 1, are we going to look at every, or week 2, are we going to look at all of my pods? No, of course not. But once it gets down to like 10 pods or so for me, we'll be looking at those matchups and being like, okay, like here it is. And hopefully we have a team that goes real deep. Team right now is By the way, we never had a chance at Bryce Young. So Fields and Herbert, we're stopping at 2 quarterbacks. And Herbert, by the way, he should run a lot more this year. Last year, if you remember, he had the foot injury. That's why he was so cheap in drafts. Fields and Herbert, Judkins, Brian Robinson, Charbonnet, Tootin, Bigsby, Chase, Ladd, Rice, Metcalf, Tet, Jonnu, Pitts, Gesicki. If I didn't have overlapping buys, I would legit maybe just stop at 5 wide receivers here. With the overlapping buys, I'm probably adding at least 1 wide receiver, maybe 2. Like either building 3 picks left, either 2 are running back, 1's wide receiver, or 2 are wide receiver, 1's running back. The 2 wide receivers gives you some insurance in case a guy gets like hurt, you know, if like Metcalf gets hurt, Rice gets hurt, whatever. The 2 running back gives you just more chances of getting guys that matter because I might need that on this team. You know, Liam, I have no idea who the Browns quarterback is. But I would say in general, no. Shadur is probably not a great click. I prefer Slayton on Underdog, Wandale on DraftKings. Hey, man, as long as I make it deep, I hope I have some sweats against y'all in the Eliminator. Well, you got to make it out week 1, Thomas. I would say even earlier by that, man. Like past week 7, I think most of the contest is eliminated. We'll do the math in a second. Oh, we didn't do our coin flip, folks. We got to do that. Tails. Okay, eliminated. We like to do that before each eliminator. Yeah, see, this is the... Thanks, Greg. He said, I'm a software engineer and parse some of the DK data. Someone got CD Lamb at pick 16. Marshawn Lloyd, we've been talking about him on stream. Okay, we need 1 wide out. We've been talking about Keenan too. This might be a Keenan time. It's Keenan time. Why not? So that's like the only benefit of the DK data release is that like we catch these for DK, which like you would kind of just hope that a site could do that themselves, you know? This is not as crazy to me, right? Like AJ Brown going in the 3rd is not as crazy as CD Lamb going pick 16. Like that feels like collusion. So, going to need Keenan to sign somewhere. But if you're going to stop at 6 wide receivers, he's kind of the ideal 6th, right? Because you just say, hey, he's like way undervalued. Okay, let's check. The eliminator is let's just call it 200,000 entrants because math's hard. All right, fine. No, we'll do the exact. The eliminator is 196,608. 196,608. After week 1, 98,000 teams remain. After week 2, 49,000 teams remain. After week 3, after week 4, after week 5, after week 6, after week 7. After week 7, 1,500 teams remain out of 196,608. So 0.78% of the teams remain. So yeah, it's hard to get a sweat deep in this, folks. That's like the awesome / bad thing. Like awesome, it's one of the best sweats ever if you get a team far. Bad, most of us are not getting a sweat in it. Same problem with total points contests. Like total points weeks 1 through 17. Awesome if you get a sweat deep in that. Bad, very few people have a sweat. And that's why playoff pods are so awesome, because it's like, as long as you get a team to week 15, you got an equal sweat to me. Doesn't matter whether you have one playoff team or 30 playoff teams. You could win. I kind of feel like Amari Cooper would be more pit oriented than Keenan. Yeah. That team I think should be canceled. Like that's what I asked Dan. I was like, are there any collusion teams? Basically. Man. Okay, so week 10, we would only have Ladd, Metcalf, and Tet. And again, like we just looked at it, folks. Making it to week 10 is hard. So, do we take the running back or not? Who do we even take? Do we take like Mostert? No, we can't do another week 8 bye. I mean, there's a lot of wide receivers to take. Maybe we take one of the Kansas City guys. We could do Keaton too. Let's do Keaton. Why not? 2763. Okay, well, Keenan doesn't have CTE. That's confirmed. That's really funny if you're not a Pitt fan. So that team: Herbert, Fields, Judkins, Brian Robinson, Zach Charbonnet, Tootin, Tank Bigsby, Marshawn Lloyd, Keaton Mitchell, Jamar Chase, Ladd, Rashee Rice, DK Metcalf, Tet McMillan, Keenan Allen, Jonnu, Pitts, Gesicki. Obviously, the running back room is not ideal. The wide receiver room, we need Keenan to play. We need no injuries. Feel fine at quarterback and tight end. Can you summarize how you draft differently on the Eliminator compared to BBM? Number one, we care about buys a lot more in the Eliminator. And in general, the later the buy, the better, because it's just hard to make it far in the contest. So week 14 buys are the best. Week 12 buys are the second best. Having little buy overlap is good. Also for the Eliminator, I care about running backs more than in Best Ball Mania, because early season production is very important, right? Like if you score 80 points weeks 1 and 2, you're out of the contest. You need to beat someone. So you need a high floor. You also need a high ceiling. Yeah, hope that helps a rough summary. All right, one more for the folks here, since we're doing 20 seconds. You do this already? Yeah. Let's do a Dalmatian. Let's move our camera up. I kind of think it will be Flacco early, and late, I have no idea, man. Maybe it will be Shedeur late. Maybe it will be Dylan. Is it Dylan Gabriel? Yeah, Dylan Gabriel. Maybe it'll be Deshaun. Keenan to Miami. Yeah, I've seen that rumor. I didn't do any eliminators last year. I just like the head-to-head sweat a lot more. Look at this, we got 300 people on a random Friday in July. Best ball is alive and well. Let's get it. Happy Friday, sir. I'm confused here, Liam. Are you drafting Tua ahead of Waddle and Tyreek? Or are you not playing best ball? Is this like Dynasty or something? Because Tua goes around pick 150. Tyreek is like a second round pick and Waddle's like a fifth round pick. So I'm confused how you have Tua and you're drafting the wide receivers. No worries, dude. We just did a best ball mania and a eliminator. I mean, dude, we've never drafted Najee. We were the people. I was the person pre-draft telling you not to draft Najee, telling you that the Chargers were going to draft a running back. You guys forget, but Najee in the big board, those people lost their goddamn mind. I think he was going as like a 6th round pick. My HDMI cord is so finicky. I keep on losing connection. Come on. Well, let's look at the contest. If my G-dang cord wasn't dropping on me. The Dalmatian. 4 out of 12 advanced week 1. Or weeks 1 through 14. So rather than 2 out of 12, 4 out of 12 advanced. Then 1 out of 5, 1 out of 8, 23-person final. So you can't have a huge payout week 17 when it's relatively easy to get there. You make the finals, which is 23 people, Michael Jordan, you get $1,000. I would say it's a pretty, it's not a pretty, if your dream is to win 100K, okay, it's not the contest for you. But it's a good contest to realistically win. Puka Nacua gift. Also true, right? Tom, I draft them both. I like Aaron Jones quite a bit. Jordan Mason, he's getting a little expensive, but I was the OG Jordan Mason alarm back in the big board. Why no weekly winners? Alex, it's just not the contest for me. You have to beat literally everyone in the pool. So you have to draft the absolute nuts, and you relatively don't make as much money. If you draft the absolute nuts, you make 20 grand. You have to beat all 186,000 entrants. That's not my type of contest. Well, this one's not as much of a lotto ticket, right? You just asked the same thing again. This one is more of a relative higher stakes. I like them both. Let's do AJ Brown. They have good synergy. Puka going to get a lot of targets. AJ Brown, a lot of deep touchdowns. I cashed a couple events, Martin. But, min cashes ain't it, Lost some flips. It is what it is. Poker, it's a game of a lot of patience, Sometimes I have that, sometimes I don't. Definitely have some of these. But yeah, this is not a lotto ticket per se, right? A third of the pot advances, and it's relatively easier to make week 17. So it's like, hey, happy 21st, Raphael. A drink to you, my friend. Cheers. Yeah, it's a 3-entry max, higher stakes contest. I mean, you can't have it all, right? You can't have easier advance rates and 200K to first. And look, I'm not trying to sell you on the contest. If you don't like this, that is fine. A lot of people like this contest a lot. I would, big boy, because that's what I do. Also, like, if you run deep in the main event, there are people who will buy your action. Wow, my God. T. Higgins, pick 31. Could have been us. All right, let's do Terry and see if we can get Jaden. I like Tyrone Tracy. I think Cam Scatterville's price is pretty crazy. But yeah, if you run deep in the main event, you can sell your action and people will buy it at like really big prices. And so, like, for those who watch poker, some people think that Jonathan Tamayo sold a lot of action last year, and that's why he folded pocket queens on the final table, because he wanted to make the end of the day and sell more action. Like there's like Bitcoin billionaires who will buy the action. Yeah, I'm not worried about the Sims for best ball, Tom. Okay, we didn't get Jaden. Is what it is. Betting boys when Jaden Kittle. That is tough that the UK is getting shafted on best ball. Sorry, Geth. My favorite pass catcher for the Titans is Chig Okonkwo, other than Calvin Ridley, of course. At wide receiver, I don't know. Maybe it's Alec Imanor. Maybe it's Tyler Lockett. Maybe Cam Ward just won't be good. Maybe it's Tony Pollard. Maybe it's Tajay Spears. Pretty fun start here, by the way. Puka, AJ Brown, Terry, and Mike. Could be the nuts. Well, I just like Chig Okonkwo because he could simply be the second target on the Titans with tight end eligibility. Uniqueness is definitely valuable. At the same time, sometimes chalk wins. Lamb and Monra was a very chalky combo the year that Fareed won. Yeah, he's not my favorite guy, AB, but I hear your logic here. I mix him in. I mean, he's probably being overdrafted, King what, but big guy runs fast. Fun profile to bet on, right? I've never been a Chig guy. I became a Chig guy after his RuneScape obsession. Yeah, I mean, the most people making money from the Sims are the people who are selling the subscriptions. Let's be very clear there. If I start selling Sim drafts, it's to make money. which maybe I'll do. I don't know. If people demand it, why not? Chuba feels awesome to get as our anchor running back here with a Puka, AJ Brown, Terry, Mike start. I'm always heavy on wide receivers, MD. And I also had a draft that had one wide receiver through 5 rounds, so maybe you're just a victim of the moment, you know? Yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson, I haven't clicked Garrett Wilson once this year. I'll say that. If Justin Fields as a passer gets me, so be it. I definitely have done some 4 running back starts. Of the wide receivers, he's the one I'm most skeptical of, but like, he was so good as a rookie, man. Like, what ask yourself, what if Jackson Dart is good? I like Juwan Jennings, AB. I draft him, but I don't know. There's paths to failure, right? I do. I think that was a pretty crazy lucky run for him. Yeah, Travion. We got 4 wide receivers, Chuba and Travion. I don't have a ton of Travion either, so it feels good to get him here. This question would require me to think more than just to fire it off. No King, because probably at least 30% of the field each year doesn't stack at all. You know, John, the frat boy, Tom from accounting, who fires up a draft and takes Aaron Rodgers in the first round, they ain't stacking anyways. Good doesn't pay the bills. DJ Moore only got there with Justin Fields. By the way, DJ Moore was a bad bet with Justin Fields the year he got there. He just got there. He got there mainly off of like 50-yard touchdowns. And he had a huge playoff week. he may be your best friend, but he's donking it off in the best ball streets. Reach a couple times, quote unquote. Sure. Mr. Montgomery. Not a guy I draft a ton. 10 picks past ADP feels like a great time to mix him in on a team that needs wide running backs. He might fall off, Michael, but like he's one of the best fits for half points, so I simply take him sometime. Now, this would be a great spot, but like you got to ask yourself, does Keenan Allen want to go play for a rookie quarterback? Probably not, right? What would Keenan Allen want to do? He wants to play somewhere with good weather. He wants to play with the team he's familiar with. He wants to play for a good team. So I don't think Keenan's so desperate that he's going to go do that. Hell yeah, AB. We're just getting started, folks. We are just getting started. I think this is a fine time to just rip Baker. Now my running back room feels fine. My wide receiver room feels fine. Advance rates are 4 out of 12 for this contest. So I know, like, historically, the pocket passer who smashes is just like simply a bad bet the next year at an inflated cost. So like Baker, who went 4,500 and 41 touchdowns, he's probably due to disappoint. But he did chip on 400 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground. And we've already made the bet on Mike. We know we're not getting A.J. Brown or Jaden. Maybe because both these people are watching this draft. Like, I wasn't even considering Hurts in the 4th, but this guy was like, I got to get Hurts. Stafford goes late. So just getting Baker here, comfortable quarterback. He'll be at least around 18 points per game. He did as good as Joe Burrow did last year. 2-round discount on Burrow at least. For a lenient advance rate structure where you don't need the nuts, seems good. He did last year, Patrick. That's correct. And that may be why he might not be willing to do it again. I mean, I like Ramondre quite a bit. That's probably why I have Les Henderson. Could simply be the goal line back. Josh McDaniels' offenses have always utilized 2 running backs. I think people don't like it for the most part. That's what's beautiful about this game, right? Like, I don't really like Garrett Wilson. You do. Yeah, why not? Seems like a great time to just take Tyrone Tracy. We got a lot of week 14 buys, but I like the Tracy bet better than the Scatabo bet. So Baker, Chuba, Henderson, Montgomery, Tracy, Puka, AJ Brown, Terry, Mike. A relatively balanced start, I would say, right? Like, it started 0 RB. Then we went 3 straight running backs. We got a quarterback. We got a 4th running back. So it's like, I don't feel weak at running back. I don't think it's crazy to draft Singletary at the end of drafts. I just think it's kind of crazy. Tracy goes 104 and Cam goes 109. Yeah, I mean, look, there are outs to the Giants being worse than the league, right? So we should probably be pumping the brakes, going crazy on them. Why not? Let's do Charbonnet too. So now we have 5 running backs, only 4 wideouts, but all 4 were our first 4 picks. Kind of a fun way to build. I'm sure there's some value out there, Raphael. It's hard to know what the value is. my hottest take this year. Not really sure at this moment. Yeah, hit the like button. Thoughts on the 20-second clocks? We touched on this to start this show, but I think it's a good change, Paul. If you have to choose one, choose the one that allows people to get more action down. I think most people are capable of doing 20-second clocks, and it's underdogs simply recognizing that that's what most of their people want. Mims, Loveland. We'll do Loveland. I don't hate Mims like other people do. I could see them adding 30 seconds later in the year back. Yeah, Michael, that would be logical to me. Is that a bad thing for best ball, Jordan? Well, in general, it's very easy to hit a single at wide receiver late in drafts, right? You take Darius Slayton, you take Ray McLeod, you're probably getting points. If instead you take Jarquez Hunter or Blake Corum, you're swinging for the fences. Well, Jordan. DJ Moore that year was a third round pick. Marvin Mims goes in the 11th round. So you tell me what's the difference there. Sure. Hollywood. He was quite target dominant when on the field. Not too dissimilar bet to Marvin Mims. He has downside, obviously, but I don't really know who our next quarterback's going to be. Some idea. I mix Ertz in, but I'm uneasy about it, AB, because it could be Benson not, right? Kadarius Toney giving us reporting from inside the Chiefs locker room. Thank you for that, Mr. Toney. This is a fun way to build 4 wide receiver starts, right? Like you get the falling Chuba value, you get the huge upside swing in Henderson. You get a guy who I'm also a little uneasy on in David Montgomery, but like was objectively a value. Then you get 2 more attractive running backs in the 9th and 10th. Now you have 5, and honestly, I might be stopping at 5, right? Like Chuba should be hitting the lineups most weeks. Henderson or Montgomery or Tracy, you would think, would hit the lineup as the RB2. So I think this is gearing towards a 5 running back start. But if I don't think I need the extra ammunition at quarterback, tight end, wide receiver, then I'll add a 6th. Because obviously we feel pretty good at wideout. We feel pretty good at tight end. We feel pretty good at quarterback. I don't want to risk Stafford going, so we're going to take Stafford first. Just a comfortable second quarterback with Puka. Dog, I've moved once in like 5 years, but yes, smash the like. I've yet to draft Sanat, but I drafted a ton of him last year, so of course there's going to be flop lag. Their body types are nothing alike, big boy, but possible. Am I worried about the buys? No. Like, if you're asking if I'm so worried that like, oh, week 8 I'll only have Charbonnet, Montgomery, the answer is no. That's like a single week out of 14 weeks. Yeah, this seems like a great time to grab Janu. Again, I'm gonna be higher ranked in the market on Janu, but pick 161. I mean, what's he even have to be, right? Like, there are plenty of cases where Janu being with Rodgers is actually a big upgrade because Rodgers might run the offense through him. You know, like he might just do a bunch of dump offs, short area targets to Janu. Luke McCaffrey, also a guy I had a bag on last year. I mean, I'm never building a 3 running back team. So, I mean, I think it's a mix. Sometimes 4, sometimes 5. Yeah, there are a lot of players. Pat Bryant, Jonnu Smith, like all these guys fall plenty of times. So, like, I think Jonnu's value is closer to the Ferguson Goddard likelies. Clearly, the market is not going to agree on that. This does give me the possibility to add Rodgers too if I want a third quarterback, which I might for such an 4 out of 12 advance. I'm gonna take McMillan first if he's still there. Do I watch the UFC? I do sometimes. I quite like fighting stuff. Okay, he went. I like Rico. Let's take Rico. No, it's not. Quick clicks. Oh, our preset rankings are 2 quarterbacks, so we got Rico. It was meant to be, folks. It was meant to be. All right, fine. Chuba and Rico together. That's the only reason I said no. It's fine. Totally fine to have both. Now, I guess we're going to just eat the 0 week 5 at tight end because we need some more wide receivers on the team now. And I don't know if we can go Rodgers anymore. Like, I could go 2 wide receivers, a third tight end if I wanted to. I could go Rodgers and 2 wide receivers as well. I just kind of like mixing in the Rodgers stack. Don't really care about ADPs at this point. Where is Metcalf? Josh Allen drafter took Metcalf, so he might not even take Rodgers. So I think we'll do that. We'll pass on Rodgers here, and we'll see if he's there at pick 200. And we'll take Diami Brown. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely cases where Ertz is just a smash again. I think I prefer Calvin a little bit more to Freiermuth, but I definitely see cases where Freiermuth is on the field catching touchdowns too. There's also cases where like Amari Cooper signs there. So a lot to shake out for Pitt. Oh, Ayuk could go way up or way down. Like if he starts on pup, Ayuk will just go down, even if it's not that logical. If he's practicing somehow, he could go up to like the 4th. It's somewhat hard to be overpriced in the 13th, but I get your sentiment. I think the market is just like, Strange had some big games last year, and the market's making bets that those happen again. Somewhat tough tie, right? Like the Rams are pretty legit this year. Bucks division is a lot harder this year. They almost certainly just got an OC downgrade. Report, and I say report with heavy quotes the other day, was he could start on pup. He could be active week 1. This is from a 49ers beat. Okay, Rodgers goes, so we're freed from that. Okay, so wide receiver for sure. Let's do Dante Thornton. I've drafted almost. I think it's actually my first time drafting him. No week 17 correlation, but seems fine if he's just a pure deep threat. Man, people love asking about Shadur. I mean, sure, man, he's got potential. He's got strong potential to be a 0-2. Okay, what's this team need? Baker, Stafford. It's a little thin, but we're stopping at 2. Chuba, Henderson, Montgomery, Tracy, Sharp, Rico. We're definitely just eating the week 8, whatever. Puka, AJ Brown, Terry, Mike. I think we just need to lean on the 4, stop at 7. Could go 8. But yeah, with Loveland, maybe shaky to start. We could go a third tight end. Like Theo gives us some week 17 correlation. Higbee, I like too. Terrence Ferguson. Did he get drafted real high? Yeah, he went 170. Wow. I don't know. I'm not convinced that Terrence Ferguson is so much ahead of Higbee. But seeing as he gets drafted less and he gets stacked, Higbee was legit good to end the year. So we're into Higbee. Baker, Stafford, Chuba, Henderson, Montgomery, Tracy, Sharps, Rico, Puka, AJ Brown, Terry, Mike, Hollywood, Diami Brown, Dante, Thornton, Loveland, Janu, Higbee. All right, folks. Yes, I believe so. Gerard, but I don't know. You got to go to rankings. Rankings, NFL, limits. I have it set 2683. I build 3 quarterback more in the eliminator. I mean, I would argue his last year body of work was enough to say yes, but who knows? What a flash from the past. All right, folks. Thanks for being here. Like, subscribe. Got fresh underdog and DraftKings rankings live at beatbestball.com. That's $100 for the year. Join my Discord, link below. We're going to be in the streaming streets this month, so we'll be back either this weekend or this week. Going to get updated ranks for the Eliminator and Drafters too. Have a great rest of your day or night.